Hello again, everybody. Fasting Eddie here, talking to you today about getting your macros right. And the reason we're talking about this today is we have a lot of new people all jumping into the ketogenic lifestyle right now, and it's amazing. But the great thing about having so many new people at the same time is that the same conversations and the same questions come up. So when you get a chance to talk about it over and over and over, it becomes a little clearer to yourself even what you're trying to say, and I think you all know what I'm talking about. So the first thing we got to mention here, in case nobody knows, is what are macros? Well, you got your fat, you have your protein, and you have your carbohydrates. The basic setup of the ketogenic lifestyle is 75% fat, moderate protein, 25%, and low carbs at 25 grams, which is 5%. But as I learned the hard way after hitting my initial weight loss and then plateauing for a very long time, I listened to Dr. Jason Fung, who you're going to hear us talking about all the time. He's a wealth of information on the subject. And I listened to a whole discussion about how protein can hinder your progress, for one, and two, how the basic setup of the 75-25-5 is great if your goal is to maintain your life. It's to stay the same weight, to keep the same muscle, to keep rejuvenating your cells, and keep the cycle going over and over. And I found that the hard way because I didn't lose a pound the month of August after having been fat adapted now for a while, because I was eating 75-25-5. And I was fasting the same thing every day now instead of like I was before, long extended fast. Now I was doing 16-8 or one meal a day. But we're going to talk about the 16-8 format, which means 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of feasting. And that gives us an 8-hour feasting window to discuss our subject here today about macros. So I want to reiterate, one of the selling points of the ketogenic diet is you don't have to count calories anymore. You don't have to count points anymore. And you know what I found? That's great and that's true, but I wanted to learn exactly what I was eating and how much of it I was eating first. And that's come a long way, because now I can walk into the kitchen and I know exactly what I'm weighing out and what I'm eating. And I'll go even further to say that I never got a clear answer in the beginning. Does that mean that I should eat all my 75% of my fat in the morning and then eat all my carbs in the afternoon and all my protein at once? Well, I never got a clear answer, like I said. So I determined right from the beginning that every one of my meals was going to be on the format of the 75-25-5. And I've learned how to perfect that, where I can walk in the kitchen every time and have a meal that's at or below those macros, or in the case of fat, more, because when I take away proteins and carbs, my percentage increases. So, for the purpose of this subject, and I'm hoping you will follow it yourself until you get to where you be, I think you're going to find you have a lot more success. Now, as I mentioned, if you're in the ketogenic diet to retain what you got, to make yourself better, then great. Stick with the 75-25. Guesstimate your meals after you learn a bit about what they are, and then stick with it. But if you're like me, and you're into this for weight, then you want to listen to it. So what I would suggest first is going to my website, ketogeniclarity.com, and go to the More tab, and there's apps. And right here is an Android and a Carb Manager version available for download. Just click on the picture, it takes you right to the stores, and you can have it on your phone or on your desktop like I do. And the phone app's going to come in handy because I'm going to show you in a few minutes why. So then you set up the Carb Manager, and you go through the basic settings, and then you get to how much you want to lose a week, which the most you can put in is 2. And technically, that's really anybody should be able to. And most of you guys that are starting out now, when you start seeing 7, 5, 10, 15 pounds like I did too, a lot of that's water weight. A lot of that's the change in lifestyle, the shock to the system. I dropped 15 pounds my first 2 weeks without blinking, and I lost 30 pounds in the first 30 days. Then the last 10 came after a month. And this is kind of why I'm talking to you about this now. So as you go along, you can make adjustments where necessary. So when you go to set it up, you pick ketogenic, and it gives you right here 70, 25, 5, which is the basic setup. But like I said, I heard Dr. Fung, I heard the evidence that if you're eating too much protein and carbs, you're just going to maintain and not lose the weight. One of the things Dr. Fung specified, I think I mentioned it, is eating 20 grams or less of carbs a day, and the normal is 25. So right away I changed this to 20, which brings my percent down to 4. Now I will tell you, if you're messing with this app, it can get kind of frustrating, because every time you change one number, the other one's changed. So you might get this at 20 and then this shoots up, but you work on it and eventually it comes. So this 2,000 calorie budget up here is really just the starting point for how much you can eat in a day. In the beginning, I tried 1,800, then I tried 2,200. That was too much. 1,800 a lot of time was too little. I was always going over. And the last thing you want to feel like is every meal that you're over, you cheated and all that. So I worked on it, and now I'm giving the opportunity to start here as maybe a little bit better point that might not mess you up like it did me. So I got my protein to 20 grams, which brings it to 100 grams. I don't remember what it starts with. I believe it's 144, 160. But I know earlier in the lifestyle, I was eating about 165 grams of protein a day. But then I heard videos that said our bodies only use a certain amount of protein for muscles, for brain power, for whatever it uses it for. And then the rest, what happens to it? You guessed it. It gets converted to sugar. And it turns into glucose. And it spikes your insulin. So the old thinking, which I've come across a lot, and it's not a problem because we were all brought the same way. And the closest to this most of us know, unless you've done the paleo or some of the other similar low-carb lifestyles around, is that in the Atkins day, a steak was protein, cheese was fat, and well, you know what I'm saying? It was pretty cut and dry. When you ate a steak, you felt I wasn't eating any carbs. When I ate a cucumber, I was eating carbs. When I had a piece of cheese, I was eating fat. Well, thanks to technology and programs like the Carb Manager, we're able to see that that's not necessarily true. So I'm set up here now at 76% fat, and you can't go wrong with going up on the fat because that's the basis of this lifestyle. So if you cut out carbs completely and lower your protein down, you still eat a lot of fat because that is, as the Fireside video says, that's the coals that you're going to burn off. That's where you're going to get your best energy. So after I got this set up now, let's go and get an idea of what it's like, what we eat in a day. So as you see here, it says 2,000 calories, but again, that's just a benchmark for what we end up with for the day. What's important is the 20 net carbs, which come from after fiber. So if you're looking at a can and it says 5 grams of carbs, but 4 grams of it are fiber, your net carbs are 1. But also, importantly, is that in the phone version of the app, there'll be a button up here called Scan. So in the beginning, yeah, you got to put in a little extra time to get set up, but once you're set up, you're good to go. So let's just say you start your first, okay, let's do it the right way. I'm doing a 16-8. I'm eating my first meal of the day at noon, which means I ate my last meal at 8 o'clock the last night, and then I fasted for 16 hours, and now it's noon. Now I'm giving myself an 8-hour feasting window. And get used to these words, feasting and fasting. Because where that comes from is if you go back to the caveman days. What did the cavemen do? They hunted. They went on the hunt. They got their prey, and they ate, and they had a feast. And they probably ate day and night until they couldn't move again. And then that food ran out. Well, what did they do? Did they go to the grocery store to get more? No. They either hunted or looked for food and didn't find any. And in that period, they fasted. They didn't technically say to themselves, okay, we're going to fast now or we're going to feast now. They just did it. It was normal living. So from always being in fasting and feasting modes, they most likely all ran in a state of ketosis. I'm not a doctor, but this is just my opinion from everything I've read so far, that those early people probably were in a state of ketosis all the time. There wasn't processed sugar and things like that you had a bunch of type 2 diabetic, overweight cavemen around. They all ate the same food till it ran out, and then they fasted. So I'm in my 8-hour window here, and I'm using the 8-hour window, even though I normally do a 24, just to show you how your food stacks up for the day. So, like I said, my first meal of the day is at noon. I usually start off with the same kinds of foods, which I usually bust off a piece of mozzarella cheese. And really, you should use, for the sake of this, I'm going to use the whole milk mozzarella cheese, if I can come across here. Yeah, here we go. This is like your paleo cheese, which is more of a whole milk, which is what you're going for. You're not looking for skim milk and low-fat milk in this lifestyle. I just happen to usually buy the lower-fat skim milk one because it's cheap. You can get two blocks of cheese for $3, and I can stack the fridge with. And actually, I kind of like them. And then the macros aren't much different. But for the sake of this, we're going to use the whole milk mozzarella, okay? And I usually have my scale out all the time. I usually always have it on the counter set in ounces, and I kind of keep everything uniform that way. So when I bust off a piece of cheese for my first meal of the day, it's usually 2 or 3 ounces. If I'm hungry, let's just say 3, okay? So now, what did we say earlier? We think of protein, we think of fat, we think of carbs by the food we eat. So we ate 3 ounces of cheese, we probably used to say to ourselves, man, I ate a lot of fat. Well, you ate some fat, but look, you have more protein as well. You have 15 grams of fat and 15 grams of protein in that. But looky up here, 3 grams of net carbs. That's right, every ounce of this cheese takes away a carb. And you're budgeting 20 for the day. So there's 3 of them gone right there, okay? So now let's add this food, and it goes to our main menu, which will show you what it looks like. There it is. There's your piece of cheese, the one meal entered. 62% fat, 29%, 5%. Now, like I said, as I stack each meal, I try to make it so they're within those ranges again. So let's move on to the next item, lunch here. I'm going to add the other thing I usually start my day with. I'll get my scale out and put a red Solo cup on it and zero it out. Then I'll start pouring into that cup. Smokehouse Almonds by Blue Diamond, something I love. And I'll put that in ounces. And I'll change this to 1 because I'll usually pour an ounce in there. Okay? 1 ounce. Now look what that gives me. Great, 16 grams of fat. Some good protein. But looky here. 2 more grams of carbs. And raise your hand out there if you just ate 3 grams of cheese and 1 ounce of almonds and you thought that you had already consumed that many carbs. I bet many of you aren't raising your hand. And this subject right here is why I'm making this video, because I want you to see the macros that are hidden in other foods. So we add that, and now we look again. You don't have to do this every time. I'm looking each time so you can see where we're at. So now I'm at 72 fat. I'm at 21% protein, 5% carbs. I'm right in the range still, but I've only eaten 385 calories today. Look at how much gray area is up here. This is all the food I have left for the day. So while I still have that red Solo cup out, I usually pour in macadamia nuts. A great one for high fat. And that one, I'm going to put in ounces. I'm going to put in usually 1 ounce of that. And the way I track this is, as I'm pouring into the cup, it's changing. I don't have to keep dumping each item out. I started out with 1 ounce of almonds. Now it says 2 because I poured in 1 ounce of macadamia nuts. Sometimes I'll put in there, a lot of the things I like to eat is the spicy pork rinds. And again, you don't want to just shout out a bag because let's look at the pork rinds, okay? When I open the bag, it says on the back, 1 serving equals 1/2 ounce. So I'm going to go just for the heck of it. 1 ounce is what I usually put in. So I get out of that, great, 20 grams of protein, 4 grams of fat, 2 more carbs, right? But we're still close within our range just on this food. But let's add it in now and look what we got. Now we're at 70% fat, 24% protein, 5% carb. Right back to the beginning again. So now you're seeing what I'm saying about how I try to keep my whole meal within those macros all the time with everything working together. So if I'm really hungry, this may not be enough, but also I try to keep my fat up a little bit. So I'll usually take a little paper bowl, put it on the scale, and I'll pour in about half a can of black olives, which is about 3 ounces. 2 more carbs going in up there, right? Then I'll put in usually a tablespoon of olive oil. So there's a tablespoon. And we'll put this at 1. And there's my 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And then I might put in, usually one of the things I love to eat to get my fats and for taste is tahina butter, which is basically sesame seed butter. Let's see if I can find it on here. So this is my frequently eaten items. As I add them in, will pop up here. And the ones I've recently used will come up on this list. And should have sesame soda. What is it? Okay, I can't find it, so I'll put it in. Sesame. And there it is, tahina butter. So I'll usually take a tablespoon of that and pour it in the bowl with the olive oil. Right? And then I'll get rid of this. And then I'll get usually maybe like 2 pieces of celery. Or, yeah, let's call it celery. So we're going to pick, and this is great because you can pick what it is you want. So I got medium stalks, 2 of them. And I got 1 gram of carb out of that. And I'm going to use that and I'm going to kind of sop up it. But now another crazy thing I do, and you may get like this too, is I find myself combining my foods together. So I'll have that bowl of olive oil to get my fats. And I'll also have that tahina butter in there. And then I'll take my cup full of macadamias and almonds and I'll pour it in that bowl. And I'll take a plastic spoon and stir it all together and eat it with the olives and the olive oil. I'll tell you, maybe it's just me, but I've really gotten used to that kind of eating. And it makes each little meal feel like a meal, you know, like you're feasting. And that's what you're going for here. So look where I'm at now, 75, 18, and 5. I like that I kept my protein down, but my carbs are still a little high. But you're going to see we're going to balance that out, okay? So look at how much food I ate right here just for lunch. And how much carbs did we use? 13 grams of carbs and only 988 calories total. When's the last time you ate that much food and 988 calories? I'm telling you, you won't get through most of this, and if you do, you will be stuffed for hours. Well, let's just say you're not planning on eating dinner till 8, so then later on in the afternoon, I'll have a snack. And I'm aware of my macros, that I'm low on certain things and not others. So I'll probably pick another bowl with, and now for me, this is easy because I'm kind of a boring eater, all right? So I don't mind eating a lot of the same stuff all the time. I find it very satiating, and it works for me. So I might get a cucumber then, and let's find a cucumber. And I'll usually put that on the scale too, just because I want to be accurate. I'll usually cut maybe like 3 ounces of that, which is only 1 gram of carbs. And I'll put that in. And then I might get some sunflower seeds. Sometimes, now peanuts and stuff like that, you want to kind of go easy on because they're not the best. You want the stuff like the macadamias and the almonds. I buy the sunflower seeds from Walmart. Like, you know, they're cheap and they're already peeled. And I'll pour some of those in. So let's say usually I'll put like about a ½ ounce of those. So here I see I go 0, and over here I got my halves and my fractions. So I'm going to do a half on the sunflower seeds. 2 net carbs, right? So there it is. This food right here is going to fill me up now till dinner time. I might even throw some cheese, or sometimes I'll throw in maybe like a real good one in the ricotta cheese. I'll put that in a paper bowl and heat it in the microwave and get it kind of warm. And, you know, like you put some olive oil in it. You're going to find you mix some weird groups of food here. So I'm going to measure that in a plastic bowl on my scale. And I'm going to usually put about a tablespoon. So let's do a tablespoon. Actually, I'm going to do a tablespoon because that one I usually measure out like that. 1 or 2 tablespoons. And look, 1 carb I'm only using on that. So now I just made my snack for the middle of the day. I got a bowl with olive oil and I got cucumbers in it. And I'll even put some apple cider vinegar in it, which is great for you. And it'll go really good with the olive oil. Mix in the sunflower seeds, and that is going to stuff me till dinner. So where are we at right now? We're eating 1,200 calories. We're at 77, 17, and 5 all together here, and we're down to 17 grams of carbs left. So You can do this, and a lot of times I'll do this. I'll set this up like this while I'm drinking my coffee in the morning. And then when it comes time for each meal, I just walk in and do what I wrote already. What's already here. It's kind of a menu waiting for me. And I can go the next day and copy from today and bring it over there as well. So now we're getting down to the hilt here. Look at how much food we've eaten today. And this is what we have left. So now it's dinner time. And this is the time of the day where I usually like to have my London broil or ground beef with oil or something like that. But for the sake of this, I'm going to go with my London broil, which after trying to pick one out of the search for a while, couldn't find a good one. So I added it to my quick find. Now, I will, as a disclaimer, a lot of the features you're seeing me using here are only available when you upgrade to the Pro, which is like $8 a month. But let me tell you, it's the best $8 a month I spend. I think with the basic version, I got rid of it so quick. I think you only get to enter your foods. I don't think you get to do a lot of this stuff like create your meals and add other things. So I have it here already based on enough looking it up and finding the information. I created a meal, London broil, which gives me 25 grams of protein and 44 fat. In the beginning, like I told you, I used to eat 14, 16 ounces of protein because I was like, hey, man, I didn't really eat any today. But when it comes down to it, you did. So I learned the hard way that too much protein is what's holding me down. So now, if I haven't eaten much protein in a day, I'll usually go about 10 ounces. I'll cut that London broil in half, weigh it, wrap up the rest, or if you got a significant other, they'll eat the other part. So normally now 8 to 10 ounces. I see I'm high up there now. So let's start with 8. Now is the time of the day where I'm going to start looking to see what I got left. So I just entered that in. Where am I at? Boom! That 8 ounces of steak just brought me to 104 grams of protein. Right? So there it is. My protein's maxed out now at 25%. Right? So what do I got to do? I got to get some things going here. So this is the time where I usually like to, if I'm going to have steak, I'll usually get the pan after I cook the steak, or like if I'm cooking ground beef, I'll take it, leave the oil in there, and then I'll break off about 6 to 8 ounces of cauliflower. And I'll break it up and chop it up. Sometimes I'll throw it in the food processor. So let's just say I'm doing 5 ounces of cauliflower, and I'll grind that up and add it to today. Then I'm going to put it in my pan with either olive oil, or a lot of times I like to use high-burning, high-temperature oils like peanut oil, which, again, I don't do it too often, but it's one of those things I like. So I'll do it, peanut oil. Now, I know I'm low on my fat right now, so I'll actually pour in 2, 3, 4 tablespoons, right? Look where I'm at, 1 gram. So I'm going to leave a little left. So I'm going to use 2 grams, a tablespoon, just in case I use up carbs on something else. And where are we at right now? Now, also, when you make that steak, you could put butter over the top of it and accomplish the same thing. But you want to enter that butter in, which we're here. I'll show you. Let's do it. Add foods, butter, and then we see what comes up. Usually I have organic, unsalted, but we can put that in as well. Butter, organic, unsalted. Or actually, I usually get the salted, I'm sorry, because we want that salt in our diet when we're on this. So organic, salted butter, that works for me right there. So if you put in a tablespoon, well, which is probably a serving, look how much fat you get out of that, 22 grams. So let's put that on and take off some of the oil. So I can go back here, and I can go to my peanut oil and edit it down to 1 tablespoon when I cook my cauliflower. And then I'll edit tomorrow. And then here we go. I'm doing this on tomorrow, so we had a blank slate, okay? So where are we at right now? Look where we're at. Boom! 20 grams of carbs. 163. I'm under on my fat. I'm over by 6 grams on that. Boom. 74, 21, 4. Let's take a look at how much food we ate in an 8-hour window. That's a lot of food. Okay? Now, if the doctor wants to see it, I can take this file and I can share it, or I can copy it, or I can print it. That's one of the things that's great about this. If you're under a doctor's care, you can share this with them every day and send them exactly what you eat. If your trainer or your friend wants to know, what did you eat today? Boom, ask me sometime. I'll send you. I'll just share. Let's see what happens when you hit share. It's generating a report. And I don't do this too often, so let's see. I'm going to look at it later. And let's see if I can get it while I'm on the screen here with you. So the message is sent. And I don't have my open right now, so I'm going to show you later. But those are some of the things you can do. But take a look at what we got here, okay? Now, like I said, you could do this early in the day and say, oh, wait a minute, man, I'd rather have a big salad with my dinner. All right, well, then I might cut some of this out, you know. I might not have my olives during lunch. I might not have my celery during lunch. I'm going to give and take away some of that stuff away. Oh, I'd rather have my cucumber at dinner, all right? So what did I have for a snack here? I had some oil, sunflower, ricotta cheese, and I still have all this left now. So with my dinner, I made the cauliflower. I put some butter on my steak. I cooked the cauliflower in some peanut oil. And I still got room left. So now I'm going to have a little side salad where I'm going to put in let's put my cucumber back in. There's my cucumber. Can't find the cucumber. Oh, there it is, cucumber. So you put in like 3 ounces of that. And then I love tomatoes. A medium tomato usually comes out around 8 ounces, but I'll still weigh it. But most of the time I can figure it out now. So I'm going to go back 2 ounces. And I'm going to make this 8, which is about the normal. And then I'm going to check to see where I'm at on my macros. Look at that, I'm over. Okay, so I'm going to make that tomato now probably a half a tomato. So I'm going to cut that down to 4 ounces and save it. And then I'll probably want some salad dressing with that too. And this is where you want to get your fats in too. But remember, there's carbs in this stuff. Classic Caesar dressing by Kraft. I love Caesar dressing. I put 2 tablespoons of it on there. But I'm going to check and see where are my macros. Look where I'm at, 26 grams. Boom, that's not going to work. It's too much. So I'm going to take away that dressing. I'm going to switch to olive oil for that. I'm going to put olive oil and I'm going to put that apple cider vinegar in there. And then I'm going to drink it when I'm finished with it. So, because that stuff's good for you, you know. And let's put some black olives in there. See if I can fit some more of those in there with my 3 ounces. And I'm going to see where I'm at. 22 grams. I'm over by a good bit on my fat and I'm over on my protein. So let's get rid of some stuff. Let's get rid of the peanut oil that I'm going to cook my cauliflower in. I'll just put some butter, maybe of this butter in there, one of those servings. Let's take one of those away actually. Let's make that 1 gram of butter, 1 tablespoon of butter. And then bring back that oil to put in my dinner right there. I got 2. Let's make it 3. And then I'm going to see where I'm at. So you're not always going to adjust like this, but I'm playing with it just to show you where it's at. I'm still over on my carbs. So where am I getting too much carbs? Well, I also had black olives again with dinner. And the tomato really packs a lot of carbs. There's 3 in there right now. So let's just cut my tomatoes down to just a small amount too. And just 1 gram over on my carbs. So you see what I'm doing is I'm bouncing back and forth. This is my carb column right here. I can figure out, I can get rid of this tahina butter that I was going to have and still have a shit ton of food here. And look where I'm at, 19 grams of carbs. I'm just a little over my fat and I'm just a little over my protein. So I need 1 more gram of carbs. So you know what? Let's make my lunch let's see how we do with 2 ounces of macadamia nuts or almonds. I'm over 1. That's not going to work. So let's make that 1.5. And where are we? There it is. I got 107 grams of protein out of 100. I got 179 grams out of that. And I got 20 grams. Now look, I told you I'm eating 20% protein and 5% carbs. I mean, less than 5% carbs. If you're eating 75, 25, 5, you're going to have more food than this. You're going to have bigger servings than this. So use this as your guideline, and please do yourself a favor. Get that Carb Manager app. Do it for a while. Because I'm telling you, I can walk into the kitchen now, I can cook a London broil, cut it in half, or cut it a certain way, the way it looks, put it on the scale, boom, it's 8 ounces every time. I can pour those nuts, break off that cheese, all those things, and my measurements come out every time now. I don't have to do it. In fact, I don't bring this in the kitchen with me anymore. When I get done, and maybe I'm about to eat breakfast in the morning, or I'm just starting to eat that first snack, that's when I'll enter everything in and make sure I'm staying with it. So I hope that's a lot. I know it is a lot, but I hope it helped you. That's 30 minutes of Carb Manager right there. And I hope you get a lot out of it. If you got any questions at all, reach me on the Facebook page. If you're not part of our Facebook page, Keto Brothers Community, then look us up on there and send us an invitation. Or you can email me by going to ketogenesisclarity.com and finding my email on there. Until then, we'll talk to you next time, and good eating.